Greetings, weary travelers, come, warm yourself by the fire, and let us regale you with mighty tales, tales of adventure, tales of heroism, and of course, tales of Tamriel, brought to you by the unofficial Elder Scrolls pages now. I am your host, Arcaneer Silvershield, and I'm joined by our full crew, starting with, as always, the man, the myth, the legend himself, Lotus of Doom. How's it going, Lotus?
I'm doing well, I'm doing very well.
That's always good to hear. Also joining us from our UESP counterpart, but now our beloved official co-host, Dak herself. How's it going, Dak?
Hey guys!
It's good to have you again. It looks like we managed to go on a spree here with the show. It's been a long time since we were as, consistent with it, so I'm happy how this is going. Although today was a bit risky with me, but I made it. I made it.
That's fine. Literally right before I called you guys, I was shoveling stir fry and rice into my face, and I was like, I have 4 minutes. I was like, so this time I'm not starving throughout the show, dreaming of eating. Yes, exactly. So that should help my focus, I guess. Or not.
It's just talks
I don't know.
all about provisioning the entire show.
Exactly. Yeah. Now it's just going to be a provision cast. Where's Bodhi?
Have you done your Ritz? Which I assume we are going to talk about because it is New Life Festival. But
oh yeah,
Ritz time, which I don't do
Ritz.
anyway.
I'm going to say Ritz, even for the people who never do Ritz.
Right.
So we don't have too much news this week, but we do, I assume, have quite a bit of tales because I feel like all of us has been, throwing ourselves at Coral Aerie and stuff like that. So we probably will talk about that. Before we get into that, we got a couple sort of exciting behind the scenes updates again, as the trend has been going on. So the other day, I was at work, and I had absolutely nothing to do. And I thought, okay...
A nice change, at least, for you.
Yeah,
Instead of stress and needing to work until 3 a.m.
I was very free somehow. So I thought, okay, it's been a struggle pointing people towards somewhere. Now that the dungeoncrawlernetwork.com is obsolete, and UESP is a massive Wikipedia that, just pointing people there just for Twitter links and Twitch links is difficult. So I thought, you know what we need? You know what Tales needs? Now that it's a flagship podcast, it needs its own website. So I sat down at work and created one called talesoftamrielpodcast.com. So now there's actually a full website for Tales that has all of our tweet links, partner links, the content creation like Twitch, YouTube, that sort of stuff, Patreon, and a contact, form and everything like that. It's small about section. And I'm planning on writing every now and then important, at least the important stuff that is happening with the show as blog posts on the website. For example, it's late, but I'll still add it there, like us partnering with UESP, joining Robots Radio Network, things like that. They will go on the website as in written form as well. And I do have maybe posting some builds there. I've been wanting to share my builds for a while without anywhere to actually do that, so I'll probably just drop them on the website there as well. But yeah, now you can go to talesoftamrielpodcast.com and find all of that there. In addition to that, Tales of Tamriel had a Twitch account, because Tales of Tamriel came before Dungeon Crawler Network became a thing, when X started to put more shows and turned it into a sort of network. But now that all of those shows are gone, DCN is gone, but Tales remains. So I thought, okay, well, Tales of Tamriel has a Twitch account called twitch.tv/Tales of Tamriel. And if you go there now, you will see a bunch of Deltia. Because he was the last, he was handling the live stuff at the, when DCN started to become a thing, and that Twitch account sort of, closed. But I managed to gain access to it again. So now we also have our own Twitch channel too.
Yeah,
now,
we won't need to hijack mine and just throw it up here. So I was going to say, we will actually have a legitimately branded Twitch channel unless something ever goes weird. I mean, you already kind of know where to find myself and Ark and Doc, but like it'll be a little more easy to keep track of, hopefully, for everybody.
Yeah. Now, the thing is, Lotus's Twitch is the most active among any of us. We are going to try the Tales of Tamriel Twitch account. See if it's not partner. It's not even affiliated yet. Like you can't even subscribe or do anything like that. But I feel like we are gonna get that in like a few days.
Yeah, I was gonna say
it's up to you guys on that one. You guys gotta go and find us and follow us.
Hashtag old AF, because if you want to see what Delty was like 8 years ago, check out those VODs.
You can actually, like, if you go to that now, like twitch.tv/Tales of Tamriel, you can see that it was last live 7 years ago. It has like 300 followers. It is an ancient channel.
That is like a weird relic of the past.
Right?
Yeah. So we are gonna see how you all react to it. And if you can get that all fired up and up to date, we are planning on using that. Now, one thing that'll also enable us is, in case of, this current cast also moves on for whatever reason from podcasting or from ESO, and another group comes by, which is the aim for Tales of Tamriel to always continue regardless of who's hosting the show. That way they won't have to move around like Twitch channels and things like that. Tales will have a central Twitch channel too. So if I'm not available, or like Lotus will be able to host there. If Lotus is not available, I'll be able to host there. If neither of us are available, we are going to trick Doc into, hosting the show as well at some point. So, spoilers.
Yeah.
That is the way we keep Tales going. We just invite people on the show, trick them into hosting the show, and then they can keep it going. That's the way. So, yeah. And Guar stuff will be banned on that channel as well. I'll set it up that way. But go ahead and follow. If you're interested in catching us live, go ahead and follow twitch.tv/Tales of Tamriel. You can also find the link to that, of course, on talesoftamrielpodcast.com. Unless it links to you right now. Hold on, let me see.
I don't
know. It does go to the right place.
Okay, perfect. Because I was going to say, just from everybody's kind of like up a creek if I can't ever make a show, because then it's like, all right, well, that's actually on Ark's channel this week, or maybe Doc's got it, like whatever. The thing is, it's like, I greatly appreciate everybody who comes by and hangs out, regardless of whatever I'm streaming. It's usually Elder Scrolls stuff or whatever. So, very much thank you. And for anybody who does still swing by my channel and stuff like that, I'm going to put a tab to this channel just so you can know where to go from my thing as well, just in my Twitch channel. So if you come here on a regular basis, as so many of you are kind enough to do, it'll be right there. So even if you don't have another way to, I'll give a nice easy access click way to get over to it. So
I'll probably do something. I was already following y'all, so I didn't even realize that. I just went on there. I was like, I'm pretty awesome. I was already following y'all.
Is that why
I'm a true fan.
Is that why Doctor Who that 219 followed you notification just popped up on my second screen here on Tails account?
That's a lie.
Honestly, even I wasn't on my new Arcaneer's Quest account. Even I wasn't following Tales of Tamriel. I forgot that account existed. Like a lot of us did. It was last relevant 7 years ago.
I think that's what I looked for originally, way back in the day, until I realized that it was under Dungeon Crawler Network. And then eventually it moved over to Lotus. So yeah, but I think because I went to go follow it and I was like, oh, hey, I already followed it. That's great.
I mean, the only reason I remembered that account existed was someone followed it. I don't know how they even found it, because at the time, if you typed in Tales of Tamriel on Twitch, the search results would not return that account at all.
Interesting. That's too funny.
The email account that is connected to it, which is talesoftamrielpodcast@gmail.com, which is our current contact email, got someone followed you on Twitch, and I was like, what Twitch? I mean,
well, that's that's kind of the thing is I'm becoming aware that actually the first time, because I don't even think I had Twitch when I found Tales. I listened to it via podcast. And when I found the live show, it was already like a Dungeon Crawler Network thing. So I'm like, yeah, I'm going to be checking this afterwards when I have less things on less screens, because I'm almost 100% sure that I'm definitely not following our own channel right now.
How dare you? No, I'm just kidding.
Hashtag exposed.
I mean, Tales, we ended up sort of like after I took over DCN from Magellos, there was a lot of rebranding and trying to figure out what to do with all of that. But this past couple months, finally, like everything finally just came together with, you know, joining UESP and joining Robots Radio Network and finally being able to let DCN go. Because I just, you know, the other shows just do not continue. So Tales becoming its own entity again has been a blessing for me as well in terms of managing everything and branding everything. So I'm really happy about that.
Yeah, it was an 8-year-long play.
Yeah.
No Log Ball has nothing on our long play plan.
But yeah, so that was the behind the scenes update, and we'll all see you all over at
The website looks great. Also.
those places. Yeah. So one thing
very
is the
awesome.
mobile version, it's absolutely borked. I'll figure something out for that as well.
I tried to open it and I was like, what the?
So
I turned on the laptop at first and I was like, oh, this looks good. And then I tried to view it on my phone. I was like, what the hell?
Yeah. The banners don't show properly. And the stuff like you see is out of order. So instead of like about latest posts and then follow us on Twitter and latest episodes and widgets like that, it goes about widget posts widget. So it's
Yep.
I need another free day at work to figure all that out.
Do the mobile version.
Yeah. So that brings us to news, which are few. Starting with Morrowind DLC is actually now free. Now, what ZOS has been doing for very long is that whenever a new chapter releases, the previous chapter would turn into a DLC. So you would be able to access it with ESO Plus or purchase it with crowns. But this is the first time a chapter is actually completely free.
Yes. It's very similar because there was definitely some confusion about this because people were like, what? Wasn't it already free? Well, no, it was included in your ESO Plus subscription, which it seems like most people that play the game consistently have. It's very similar. Yeah, I know, except me. But what I was relating it to for people as best I could, it's like when the Imperial City DLC became a free download from the store. You just go in, you just get it. It's just yours. You don't need to buy. You essentially buy it for nothing. Is the best. Like that's what you do, and then it's just yours all the time, which is pretty cool because it is older. I do find it a tad odd that even though this is the first chapter they've included, and it's the original quote unquote chapter because technically Hrothgar wasn't a chapter. It's just a little weird that Hrothgar is still not included, but they went to the one after Hrothgar. I don't know. It just struck me as a little odd, but even still, Morrowind is actually really, really good. I love that expansion. There's a lot to it. So it's another thing that they added to the game just for essentially free base game, which is really great.
Yep. One thing is this does not give you access to Warden class.
Yes.
That used to be separate when it was a DLC as well. But the classes that come with chapters, even if they become free or like get added into your ESO Plus the DLC or whatnot, the classes stay separate. I think they cost like 1,500 crowns, which is less than what you get if you sub for 1 month of ESO Plus 2. So there's that. But still, I mean, the base game, whenever someone asks me about starting ESO and they're like, which edition should I buy and things like that, I'm like, just get the base one.
Yeah.
And that'll give you a few hundred hours worth of content before you can decide whether if you want to invest more in the game.
Yep.
Yeah.
And it's growing more. And I wonder if they are gonna add the other chapters as well. Like now they are gonna make the last chapter a DLC, and the last from the
previous year
becomes free.
Right. It's just like have like a cycle where there's only so much between, like there's a gap of ones you can buy, and then the previous oldest that wasn't free becomes free, and then the last year's one gets put into, because that'll make the flowchart of what the hell do I buy way easier for people, because it's real easy to complain right now. You can check the UESP for a graph on how to do this.
That's the one thing that people are very overwhelmed by when getting into ESO. It's like 8 years of growth in the game, and they're like, dude, what do I do?
Yeah, like where do I start? I was like,
I'm like, good luck with that. I mean, do you want to follow the story chronologically or just jump into the latest thing? Do you want to just become competitive? Like, what are you looking for in this?
I always suggest the exact same thing as you, Ark. I'm like, just start with base game, see if you like it. Because it's really low bar to entry, like for just base game. Try that. If you really like it, then you can choose your path and kind of research what's the best method for you. I never really suggest just like diving in. It's not worth it unless the newest chapter is like it's 60% off, 70% off sale, and it's like, okay, well, it's like $5 more. Well, okay, just buy that then, because it gives you essentially base game. But like, it's really just kind of like base game is the way to go. And you'll find out if you like the game, because it might not be for you. Like, and why spend $100 buying all these DLCs that could last you for years if it turns out it's like, actually, this is not really for me. It's like, well, okay, a $10 barrier to entry is probably a lot better than that.
Yeah. So the next bit of news is actually in 4 days, this Thursday, April 14 at 4 p.m. EDT on twitch.tv/Bethesda, there will be the High Isle chapter preview live stream with Rich Lambert, creative director, art director CJ Greb, and writer-designer Taylor Sire? I don't know, I'm sorry. CYR, however that is pronounced. They will be talking about the High Isle chapter without giving any spoilers, talk about the gameplay. There will probably be a lot of footage as well, maybe some Q&As. So there will be an information dump of sorts on April 14. And those are always great to just get ahead of the launch, so you know what you're expecting, you know what you want to focus on ahead of the launch, so you can like on day one just jump into all of that. There will again be post-show stuff with the community managers and gameplay designers, talking like more in depth about the upcoming content, like the card game. So yeah, definitely something to tune in. There will also be rewards, as they usually do. You'll get a torch bug, I think. Something like that.
Oh yeah, isn't it a violet torch bug this time?
Yeah. I was gonna say purple, thank you. Yes, violet.
Yeah.
So for anyone, who's been collecting those torch bugs, which I know a lot of people do every chance, there will be another torch bug involved in this. Now, those are the announcement stuff, like the, quick news type things. The most important thing this week is that Elder Scrolls Online is now 8 years old.
Yeah.
For April 4, 2014 to, we are recording this on April 10, 2022. That's been 8 years that, I've been playing this game. I've been a part of this community, and God, that is overwhelming when you think about it.
Yeah.
Like, so much of who I am today has been shaped by people I've met through Elder Scrolls Online. Like you guys, like Angelos, like Ophelia, those communities, everyone, we podcasted with, became friends with. It's insane. Because without that, before that, I didn't have this gate to the rest of the world, in a sense. With all these different cultures, different thoughts, different beliefs, different, ideas, different ways of life.
The
So
New England accent.
but it's yeah, it is insane when you think about it. And Lotus was right, spot on with the cake from last episode.
He really was.
So I heard a couple of people ask if that was leaked or something, because one, it was brought up. A couple of people were like, well, wait, how did you get that? I was like, okay, that was kind of like a luck thing. Like I was just saying that'd be neat. And based on the fact that last year it was the Deadlands. So I'm like, okay, well, we got the nautical theme. But like some people did ask if it was leaked. And I heard some people were like, I thought I've seen that. So I don't even know if it was leaked at some point. I don't know. That's what I had heard. But if it was, don't leak stuff like that. It's lame.
Yeah.
But on the flip side, I love this cake. It's my favorite one. Like,
Yeah.
I was kind of
It's
saying what
a
I wanted
delicious
it to
cake.
be as much as like, and it's super cool looking. It does have one fatal flaw though, which is really, I don't think this was the first year that it's ever been done, but maybe it is. You can't annoy people with it because only you can interact with it.
What? No. What's the point of the cake then?
I tried putting it in front of doors. I tried putting it on top of crafting nodes, and people were just walking through it and doing their business. And I was like, oh my God, everybody is acting like civil human beings. I can't jam cake in everybody's face. This is what is happening. So yeah, we were actually doing Shipwright's Regret, which we'll get into in Tales, and we were prepping with a cake as we charged in, so everybody would screw up when we jumped into the area, and everybody just casually walked in like there was no cakes to trip over. I was like, wow, unbelievable.
The cake is a lie.
That's almost bad as if they were like gonna fix the freaking bug, like when you're running on your mount. Like they fixed that. I'm done. I quit.
Some bugs should be left in the game. Like, if it's not game breaking and if it's hilarious, it should just stay in the game. I mean, why like allocate resources to fixing something great?
Also, Maddie has confirmed that it's been like that for a little bit. That we have not been able to ram cake in each other's faces forcibly. Like
called us trolls. How dare you?
I'm just going to accept it. It's going to say.
Look, back when I was playing in PCNA with Agelos, and we used to do these like drinking and fishing nights on Friday nights. My entire purpose was getting to Nirnroots before Agelos and dropping a cake on it so he couldn't pick it up, because that was his entire purpose, getting to Nirnroots before everybody else and picking the Nirnroots up. So
instead he gets tasty cake and he can enjoy that.
Yeah, the cake being an interactable has a special place in my heart. I refuse this.
Well, see, the cake for me, like this was like years back in my streaming days, when I was doing a dungeon with some friends, and we were in Lair of Marslock, I want to say, and my healer at the time, like I had the cake, and I guess I hadn't switched over my my quick slots yet, because on console, guys, your quick slots are on your directional pad thingy, like they're not on the keyboard, so you have to like move them around and stuff. And so I've meant to put my potion on there, and instead it was still the cake. And so we're literally in the fight where, where you have to kill like the stranglers, and then he comes down and everything. We're in that boss fight, and we're running around because we had never done this dungeon before. So we were just running around trying to figure out mechanics and everything like that. And all of a sudden you're like, and the cake shows up in the middle of the dungeon. It was like, and I placed it in the center of the area where freaking Celine is. And I was like, oh, who wants cake? And so people kept accidentally like activating it. They're like, dang it. It was great. I'm sad.
Just because he's in chat, and he was the first person, although several people have mentioned it. So on that same theory or experience, in the series Dungeon Tales that I've been doing, where I'm doing the storyline playthroughs of the Elder Scrolls Online dungeons for people, so that you can actually like experience the stories, we try to do them in like the most consistent, serious way. So you just get the story and it's just kind of us like role playing through it. But we don't do voice. So like you can just experience the game. So it's just, it is what it is. Which is also in a couple situations very good that we don't have voice, because you don't hear us on the other side where we're edited out. So you just get the game dialogue and everything like that. And, shout out to Crown, who, Crown ESO, who was the first one to catch it. During the video for Fungal Grotto 2, I thought I had potions slotted on my quick bar. And during the fight with the guy who drains all your magicka when you're fighting over the obsidian husk, while we're fighting on the staircase, I go to pop a potion and I'm like, birthday cake, like right in the middle of it. I was like, I'm not editing this. It's like, I'm not editing this. And on our side, they're like, get that stupid fucking cake out of the way. And it's like, damn it. So yeah, that was the first blooper that was actually in any of those videos where I was like, oh my God, I have the cake slot, because I keep my UI off to limit clutter so you can see the environment more.
Right.
So I can't see my own bar. So I have to do everything, rotation, everything off memory only. And that was just it. I assume I had fixed the hut slot button, and I was like, oh, nope, definitely didn't do that, because that is a birthday cake. And it's a super outdated one. I think it was like the 2018 one or something like that. I was like,
nice.
When was the last time I used this character?
See, the thing is, I am the type of a tank that will stop taunting the boss or fighting the boss, and if I see a cake, I'm interacting with it in the middle of the fight. I don't care. I don't care what happens to everybody else in the group. I am eating the cake.
Go to waste. That's a sin.
Yeah,
you do not let cake go to waste ever.
Oh, just wasteful. Stale cake.
Never. Gross. When you put it like that.
Yep.
So
it's hard as a rock, or maybe just a little furry, fuzzy kind of.
Specialty Khajiit cake. Yeah, so it's I don't know. It's kind of mind-boggling to think that this game has been running for this. Like, it is closing in very rapidly on a decade of this game being around, which is yeah, that's, I don't know, much like Ark. I've been involved with, different video game communities and stuff like that as one of my like main hobbies. But everything around Elder Scrolls Online has been very different. People are generally helpful. They are nice. And not that it's becoming a little more in its circles. Like the Fallout community is really awesome. I know the Destiny community tends to be very positive and stuff like that. But this is very different from the background I came from with like competitive shooters, where it's just like, not to downplay, but like I've seen some of the stuff like when people are being toxic in chat, I'm like, wow, that borderlines on a compliment in some of the old games I used to play. Whereas like this, it's like, no, that's super offensive. It's like, well, it is. That's not, don't be a douche. But I was like, at the same time, I was like, wow, that would not even like hit the radar in some of the other things I played. So it's like just the fact that this community is like overall just nicer and more accepting. And it's like not everybody, but the majority of us have fun grouping up to do things, whether it's outside game, inside game, whatever the case. And that's a very different experience than anything I had prior to Elder Scrolls Online. So to all of that, it's been a really good experience. I really like it overall. And I never did any type of stuff like we do with this podcast. I mean, I literally became a podcaster because of this game. So.
Yeah, for real though. Like, I mean, this game actually opened up so many doors for things that I didn't even know I wanted to do until being part of this community, like podcasting and everything like that. Like, and that really like ignited, because I always kind of wanted to do like when I was a kid, I wanted to be in radio and stuff. I mean, some of you younger people don't know what radio is anymore, but
Arg, my heart.
We didn't have podcasts back then. But and so now, you know, being able to do this stuff, it's like, wow, none of this would have happened if it hadn't been for Elder Scrolls Online. And like some of my closest friends that I've had for years now are from meeting them in Elder Scrolls online. And I mean, like some of these people, like even though we don't see each other, like some of us have actually gotten to meet each other in person, but some of us still haven't gotten a chance to. But at the same time, like they have been a part of my life through some of my hard stuff that I've gone through in the last few years, you know, like they've been there like family. And so it's just crazy, like to think like in the last 8 years, how much this game has impacted my life on a personal level that I never would have thought of. And this is my first like online gaming experience, because before that I was a complete solo player. In fact, even the first like year, 2 years that I played this game, I didn't interact with people really. And so it also caused me to have to really step out of my comfort zone, out of my own little like bubble, and actually like get to meet people because I wanted to do more things in the game and stuff. And because of that, that's how I met so many amazing people. And so, yeah, it's just crazy when you really look at how much this game has impacted your personal life, you know, like it's crazy.
Yeah. I mean, like I look back at life and there's like some things I'm not happy about, some things I regret and whatnot. But then I think, okay, everything that happened up until 2014, whatever it may be, resulted in me picking up Elder Scrolls Online and resulted in me being here today. So I'm like, yeah, whatever, I'm happy with that, you know? It's like I wouldn't change a thing at this point. So that's a great thing to have. And I don't know how the devs feel about this, but that is one hell of an achievement. Like to cultivate a community like this is it's to me, it's not about the sales numbers, it's not about the profits, none of that matters when you can like when you cultivate a community like this that you can be proud of. And I can only imagine how amazing that must feel for everyone who was involved in like the development side of this. It's that's the thing that I aim to, you know, find one day, as that's why I got into game development basically.
Yeah.
Well, that's the other thing too, that's like right from the beginning, before I was involved with like any of this stuff, and I went to a PAX East, and it wasn't Bethesda Game Days, it was literally just PAX East type of deal. And there was a booth for the Elder Scrolls Online. Morrowind, I think, might have been the first one. And the devs were just there hanging out with people in line or whatever. And yeah, my thing was like, oh, cool, the devs actually like do stuff. Like that's weird. Like I wasn't really like expecting that. And you know, it was pretty neat the first time. And then, like, you know, I was just somebody, I listened to Tales of Tamriel and I watched, you know, different, but I wasn't involved with anything beyond just like, oh, I'll post something every now and then on Twitter or something like that. And then I remember like the one of my first interactions, other than just like a casual hello type of thing. And I actually have a Morrowind book, like the guide or whatever, and all the devs actually have signed the inside of it from the first event I went to. Because again, I didn't know who they were. I was like, oh, this is kind of neat. Since the devs are here. I was like, I wonder if they'll just like sign the thing. That'd be kind of cool. And they all did. And I remember the next event I went to, and you know, surprise, the story is about Finn, the eternal overlord of abuse. But it was funny because one of the next events I was at, I went and I still wasn't really involved with much of anything. But I had started to get into like posting a lot of the random stuff I did, and I started to get into Twitch streaming. So that was at the time when we were just like, okay, we're just not going to use a healer. And it was before it became like this toxic thing, like F all the healers. And it was more like, look, we're just not going to use healers type of thing, when it was more of just like the idea of it was more of a flex than it was like, oh, wait, healers are worthless. Because that was never really what we were going for. But we were like, okay, well, we'll just do all this crap without healers. And we had done like a bunch of stuff. And, you know, we went, and I remember being at the event, and Finn came over to our table and was just chatting with us for a little while. And I introduced myself to him, and I was like, "Oh yeah, I on Twitter, I'm like, let's do him." And his response was, "Yeah, I remember." He's like, "I know who you are." It's like, "You're one of the people who shits on healers all the time." I was like, holy crap, he actually like knows enough about a random Twitter account from some player who posts pictures about like, hey, look, we just did this hard mode without a healer or this one without a healer. And he just sat with us having a beer and just talking about random crap. And I was like, this is so unlike anything I'm used to.
You know what? Now I'm convinced that Stone Garden is your fault, Lotus. Because up until Stone Garden, I used to be able to do all the dungeon hard modes without a healer. Then came freaking Stone Garden. And I'm now convinced that Stone Garden happened after your interaction with Finn. I
was going to say, the Stone Garden one's rough. Never have I universally seen everyone be like, we all agree we don't come back here without a healer ever again. Was the finale to Coral Aerie's hard mode. It was just like, no, I'm not doing this without a healer. It is just miserable abuse.
They made healers viable and useful.
Yeah,
you need your healers. Be kind to your healers, guys.
On the flip side, I was going to say, some of our healers have never been happier from some of my guilds and groups that I run with. They are so pleased because everybody's just like all about them being in every run now. Which, because it even if you are doing stuff without, it's just like, it's become very like, this is great. Like, I like having a healer. I don't have to squirm around with resources all the time. This is lovely. So yeah, I was going to say, it's I do like the shift where it feels better to have a healer again, because there was a chunk of time where you had options, because that's one of the things that I've liked is you've had options. But like in some of them, it was just like, this is objectively slower to have a healer, which is weird. It doesn't feel that anymore. Like, so yeah, I'm a big fan of healers feeling needed in a lot of stuff again. I personally
in some of the old dungeons, you could just skip mechanics if you had 3 DPS, and that would mean like you don't get damaged at all in the first place because the boss couldn't do anything. But yeah, they slowly figured that problem out in more recent dungeons.
And and again, it's all we've stressed this many times, where a lot of times it's just what the people in your group are comfortable with. Like that's a big thing, is like, people who get told for being elitist or whatever, but you have like Nephis and Skinny Cheeks even being like, look, when it's your group, you decide what works for you. And I agree with that. If you guys want a healer, great. If you don't want a healer, fine. There was one where recently when I was just goofing around on PC, we were doing a random, I just queued for like a random vet because I needed some extra like mats out of it as well. And I was like, well, I need the purple stuff, so I might as well do a vet. And I don't have access to the DLC on PC, so I was like, it's got to be base game, which is great. If you want to just cheese your daily, just hit me up, because can only be base game for me. And but like the people that joined in, I get it. Like, it would annoy people if this group might have fallen into them, but I was just like, I want to go quick. I want to do whatever, but and it was funny because I knew immediately that the tank was fake. Like, that was very quick too. And it was funny because like, I don't know if they thought they were in a random normal or whatever, but like everybody in there seemed very competent. And I was like, do we have any roles except a DPS? And everyone was just like, no. I was like, is everybody fine with just nuking this then? And they're like, oh yeah, as long as people can keep up. I was like, don't worry about what I can do. I'm asking, is everybody on board with this? And we just 4 DPS'd it, and it was fine. And that was the thing. I actually slotted a taunt and just roll dodged around a whole bunch.
Nice. I've done that before.
Yeah, and I'm like, that's fine as long as everybody's on that same page.
Yeah.
But it's one of the older dungeons. We do that in something like Coral Aerie. No, absolutely not. I'm going to be destroyed so fast. I won't even know what's going on. Like, so it doesn't work like that for everything.
Some dungeons I want to bring 2 healers instead of 2 DPS. I'm like, I don't want more damage. I want more heals, damn it. I mean, save me.
Yeah. So, it's definitely one of those things. It's just all about the dynamic, and it's just, I like that the recent dynamic definitely seems to be, this is actually more enjoyable with a healer for anything I've had. So kudos.
Yeah.
More on that when we get to Tales.
Yeah. Oh yeah, there'll be lots of DLC stuff.
Yes.
So on the actual topic of New Life Festival, it is pretty much the same as last year. Every daily quest that you do gives you a whole bunch of things through the Anniversary Jubilee gift boxes. You can get like macerates, you can get motifs, recipes, furnishing plans. A lot of this, I think, reward-wise.
Spider parts, so many spider parts.
So many spider parts.
Front legs, as I've heard,
So
apparently.
many.
Yeah, front legs.
But reward-wise, I think New Life Festival has the most amount of drops. Like it's drop rate
it worth
is
it
insane.
alone.
Yeah, just doing your writs
And as for like compared to last year, you get a new spider pet, the Aura Firepot Spider, which you will most likely get the front legs 700 times, and the rest of the pieces maybe once. I don't know what went wrong there. There is the Saber Keel armor style, and
I haven't even looked at that yet. I forgot to preview it.
Yeah,
it's okay.
It's fine.
I don't know. To me, it looks Elvinish / Daedricish. I don't know.
Yeah.
It didn't grow on me.
It doesn't give me an achievement for collecting it. It goes in the pile. Don't care.
Nah, fair.
You can also get the fragments for the Aurelic Quasgriff.
Yes!
Quasi-Griff.
I love it.
Yes, that thing.
Really cool.
Yeah,
that is a pretty cool mount.
Basically, a wingless Griffin pet. No, not pet, mount.
Mount.
And it looks. The thing I love about it, it looks like autumn incarnate. Like this entire thing looks like it came out of autumn. Like it's the avatar of fall. So I really like it.
The avatar.
Those are my favorite colors, man. I really love that.
Yeah, no, that thing is really, really cool looking. What do you call it? And it's nice to have a mount that, again, you can earn in game that people actually want to specifically get too, because it seems like most people are on board with that thing. Is really cool looking.
It's not another Indrik.
It's not another Indrik.
No more Indriks.
Yeah.
No more Indriks.
So this event has already started.
Though, it has. But speaking of mounts, though, because it's as of yesterday.
Oh yeah, I'm behind them. Like
just quickly to reference, we've mentioned the really good month of login rewards. Speaking of login rewards and mounts, as of yesterday, you were able to first activate the lion mount, which I posted mine roaring on a cliff because it has a really cool like roar animation that you can do if you're standing still.
Ooh.
Yeah, if you trigger its sound effect, it's actually really cool. But that is from somebody who's like, okay, whatever with a lot of the cosmetic stuff, it's fine that it's there. I know people like it. One of the things that I was kind of curious about, just because it's like, well, it's free and they do get flack a lot for like having these hyper elaborate other mounts. Granted, it doesn't have like fish or meteors coming out like all around it and stuff, but just as a mount, I think that thing look really awesome. Like it's really like a detail. I think it looks really cool. And the other thing that it does do is if your mount upgrades are active, which is a thing you can turn on or off, based on your endurance and carry
stamina,
supplies
speed,
and stuff like
carrying
that.
capacity.
Yeah, stamina.
Yeah, thank you.
Speed, carry. Yeah.
It gets armor and looks even cooler.
Ooh.
Yeah, it's one of the ones that actually reacts to that stuff. So turn that on because I think it looks really cool. It looks like a battle cat type of thing.
Ooh.
And as Isha actually mentioned in chat, I like the lower fantasy thing. So the fact that it doesn't have like a galactic butt or something like that is actually a selling point to me. I would much rather it just be a lion. So
That's awesome.
Yeah, I'm behind. I thought I was logging in every day, and yesterday I checked, I still have like 5 days, and I'm like, what happened to my 5 days? I thought I was logging in every day.
Right?
What just happened?
Yeah.
It's the thing is, it's not even like an end of the month. Like, oh, don't miss too many days. You can miss a lot of
It's like
days.
the 8th day.
It's like it's like the
And
8th
I
day.
still don't have it.
It's very attainable. You still get time.
Yeah.
You can take another week off and you still have time.
I'm
I
more
would lose the
nervous
Jester,
about
though.
missing. I do not want to miss the Jester.
Yeah.
I would be so sad. So I'm like, I have to remember to log in because it's just been busy life and everything. So it's like, oh no, I don't want to lose the Jester. I'll be so sad. Like I really want the Jester.
So the event will run until April 19, so still a plenty time even after the show is edited and published, which should be tomorrow. But yeah, definitely go do your dailies, get your tickets if you're interested in the motifs or like the mount, or just enjoy the cake, you know, double XP, stuff like that. It's always good, so... Yeah, anything else you all want to add on the New Life Festival? Because it's a daily related thing, I don't do much of it, so I don't have too much
the only thing that's worth mentioning, because I've seen it questioned from some new players, so it's really just if anybody is newer to Elder Scrolls Online and is unsure. A lot of these things relate to, like, your account as opposed to your character. You will only get tickets from eating your cake once a day. That's how you get your event tickets, which personally I love because it's so easy. You don't need to do a quest. You don't need to do squat. If you just want your tickets, you can log in, grab a slice of cake, shove it in your face, and you're all done. Like, you got your tickets for the day. You don't need to do anything.
Yeah.
On the other side of that, for these event boxes we were talking about, it's from any repeatable, which is the little blue icons for quest givers. You can do them. So you can get up to, I believe it's 50, but it could be 40. I don't know. I haven't hit cap this event because I have so much stuff in game. I just really haven't really cared too much about min-maxing the way I have prior years. But you can do 40 or 50. Someone in chat can confirm if I'm off. But there's a set amount before, like, you can do so many repeatables before it's just like, okay, that's enough boxes for you. And I believe it's 50. But it is character based. So if you hit the limit on a character and go to a different character, you can do it again. Like, you get 50 more. And then you go to another character, you do 50 more. So do writs on all your characters if you want, because you will get it on all the characters. You have a huge pool of these things depending upon exactly how much you want to get out of this. Exactly. So yeah, definitely with the, Jubilee goodness, take advantage of it as much as you would like. Because you can get a lot of, like we were saying, there's a lot of stuff to get, and normally you can't get quite this many gift boxes with so minimal effort. This is probably the most advantageous event that this game runs.
Yeah. But also definitely make sure when you pull out your cake to activate it. Because I know for me, there have been times when I have actually forgotten to activate my cake and actually eat it. Yeah. You will not get your tickets if you don't activate the cake. Like, there have been several times I'll just pull up the cake and then I'll run off on my merry way and I'll be like, oh, shoot.
Yeah, so, make sure to eat it. Yeah, exactly.
Yes.
Yep.
Your character will run off the extra poundage later on. It's fine. You'll be fine.
Exactly. But with that, I think that's pretty much everything on the news front of things at the moment.
All right, so that'll bring us to Tales. But before that, I got a message from Logan the Lore Healer. And while I didn't do this myself, I like the idea a lot. So I'm gonna bring it up to see what you guys think. Okay. So it read, "Hey Ark, I listened to Tales and have been for a while. Had a theory. What if the new quest giver Samuel in the Jester's Festival was the Daedric Prince Sanguine in disguise? He was called Sam, with a weird last name in Skyrim. Thought might be an interesting way for the devs to slide him in. What are your thoughts? Wasn't sure how to get the question." So I like the idea because in the last in the D&D campaign that we used to play with Ophelia, Dawn, Kay, and Ninja, Ophelia actually put an NPC that like organized this festival in Solitude called Samuel as well, and he turned out to be freaking sanguine. And I'm like, ooh, well, I like this idea. Now, because as you know, I don't do events and I don't do repeatable quests, so I don't I don't know this NPC. But what do you guys think? Could it be sanguine? Does he have the vibes for it?
Okay, so I very much do have something for this because I was actually he messaged both of us.
Oh, okay, great.
So they did message both of us, and I tossed Logan a quick response just because I was at work. But I actually totally think this is plausible as a potential, and the reason is there is precedent for this in the series. In Elder Scrolls Blades, there is a quest giver called, hold on, I'm bringing it up here because I don't want to get it entirely wrong, Theodore Gorlash, who looks incredibly and sounds very much like Sheogorath, and his name is an anagram of Lord Sheogorath.
Oh, okay.
It's literally an incarnation of him in Blades who gives you quests, and his name is just it's an anagram of actually, so that is not out of the realm of possibility. This actually seems very much like something they would do. So I was like, yep, that's actually a really good catch. I bet they probably did do a little nod to that. It's like, yeah, all right, we'll just give a quick one, do an overview. So I think that is high potential for that to be the case. Yep.
Yeah, I wish the event was still active when I got the message. Then I would have gone like and checked the NPC myself.
And checked him out.
Yeah. It would make sense to me though. Like I definitely could see that being something. Plus I love whenever they do like shout outs to the other games and stuff. And Sam was my favorite in Skyrim whenever I came across that quest. So that is one of my favorite side quests in the game. Like I love that one. So yeah.
Yep. So great question, great catch. I definitely think you're onto something as far as I'm concerned. And and actually that's true. That's the other thing Livia brought up. I was going to say Theodore Gorlash or Sheogorath. He actually lets you change your appearance too in Blades, which is it's a very cool little like Easter egg because I thought there was something where I was like, oh, this is interesting when I found that back originally. So it's like, it's I don't know. It definitely seems like a cool little Easter egg, and that this series is very much into very just subtle enough Easter eggs where it's like somebody's gonna catch this. It's not meant to be completely uncaught, but at the same time, it's like, all right, we give a little nod in this direction.
Yeah, I guess I'll I don't know. I'll either find a YouTube video of it or remember to check it out next year if I do. But we'll see. Or maybe by then I'll actually start doing my events, which looks not much hopeful. But we'll see. So that'll bring us to Tales. But before we get to that section, of course, we have a round of shoutouts to do and a little break to take. This week, our most recent supporter over at patreon.com/UESP is Bill Gronwald. Sorry if I butchered that again, as usual, but we really appreciate the support. It helps both UESP, your favorite and most comprehensive Elder Scrolls resource, and this show continue. So if you are interested, go check it out, patreon.com/UESP. You'll also get a lot of cool Elder Scrolls themed rewards, both digital and physical. So no reason not to do that. We don't have an iTunes review this week, so we are going to skip that. But if you do leave us a review on iTunes, this will be where we read it. And hopefully it will not have Guars or Almere Dominion in it, like it always does, every 5-star. I do not understand this. But somehow...
And from the Spotify side of things, so, for everybody who's... You can't leave words on Spotify, but we're well over 100 5-star reviews on that too. So thank you so much for all of that help over on
I don't know why
Spotify.
I can't see that. Is that?
I have no
I don't
idea.
know. Like,
Just
it
at the
doesn't
top
show
of
up on
mine.
my. Maybe it's an Android thing, or maybe it's a region thing. But for some
Yeah,
reason,
maybe
I
it's a
can't see it.
region thing. But
Yeah.
yeah, so
I'll
thank
just
you
leave
everybody.
that to you. Yeah.
Well, yeah, thank you everybody for taking the time to rate us over there. But mainly, I just wanted to say, I assume that all of you are secretly in your head writing about how great guars are for every one of those 5 stars on Spotify. It might
Me
not be
too.
said, but each star is a little heart for a guar.
I do not
Yes.
like this. But yeah, so all these reviews and ratings definitely help the show. It gets it out there, and when someone sees it, like for the first time, they see that, okay, this show has a good rating, has a lot of ratings as well, which means, it's active, it has a following, things like that. So it definitely helps us with the visibility and growth. So we appreciate that. With that said, we are going to take a quick break, and we'll be back with the tales of Tamriel, of course. Welcome back, travelers, for the fan favorite section of the show, which is our tales. And we are going to start right off the bat with Doc, because during the break, her entire internet starting blowing up, as it is the custom with tales, and we don't know how long she'll be able to stay on the call. At this point, it might be limited time. So Doc, take it away. What have you been doing in Elder Scrolls this past week?
Yeah. Also, my chat on my phone's not working either, so I do not know what's happening.
Only
Anyway,
thing working seems to be Discord for you right now.
that's okay. That's okay. We'll just keep it as is.
got the
That's
important
okay.
part.
This is the important part. So last night, I haven't done a lot except for the anniversary event. I have missed like a day or two, I think. I'm not wanting to. It's just life's been busy, but do my daily writs and everything like that. Get my rewards. Got lots of spider parts. Lots and lots of them.
Heard good things about
Front legs.
I know those front legs, man. And but I got my spider pets, and I realized after the fact, I was like, I don't even want the pet. Like, why did I spend the ticket to buy the instruction manual when I really don't even want the pet? Because it's not like I'm ever going to use the pet. Like, why did I do this? But it's just like, it was that, like, I have to collect all the things.
Yeah.
And so I wasn't thinking, and I was excited because I had all 3 parts. So I bought it, but definitely had buyer's remorse like directly after. Like, I wish that there was a feature where you could actually return the thing you bought and get your event tickets back. Because I'm like, oh.
Here's my event rebate.
So anyway, I last night, so my 3 of my friends and I, we do dungeon runs and everything, and we've been trying to get like all these different achievements done in the different dungeons. Getting like we're getting the trifectors, like the challenger achievements in the older DLC dungeons. And then once we get those taken care of, then we want to go for the actual like perfectas in the newer dungeons. And we'll get like the hard modes. Like for a long while, not for a long while, for a few weeks, we were going for the Stone Garden hard mode. And then the new dungeons came out. So we're like, all right, let's take a break on that and try the new dungeon, which we've only done it once. And that was last week. And then last night we were talking about like, well, what do we want to do? And the topic came up that I realized I did not have the, what is it called? The Sable Man-Beast skin from Moonhunter Keep, Vent Moonhunter Keep. I had most of the achievements. Like I had the hard mode done in there, but I guess I just still didn't have the no death. And my friends did. And so they're like, all right, let's go in there and get Doc her hairy arms. So I was like, yes, hairy arms for the win. And so we went in there, got it done, super easy peasy. But while we were doing that, we had been talking about, because I really want the Chevalier title from Moongrave Fane. And none of us have that achievement. And that's basically the trifecta. It's where it's a hard mode, no death speed run in Moongrave Fane. And so none of us have it. The only person that had the hard mode was our healer, who's an outstanding healer. And so he was not in a hurry to go back in there and do hard mode again, because he was like, no. But the next thing we know, instead of going back to Stone Garden as we were thinking about doing, we're loading into Moongrave Fane, when our healer had no say in the matter whatsoever. He was like, wait, why are we going to Moongrave Fane? And we're like, because we're doing it. And so we went in there, and bless his heart, we owe him all kinds of cookies and all the goodies because we got our hard mode done there.
Nice.
That was rough, guys. That hard mode is definitely rough. But it was fun. So we got that done. And so now we just need the speed run and the no death, which I was all for because I was like all hyped up on like energy and adrenaline from getting it done. So I was like, let's just do it. Let's do it. Let's get the title. Come on. And they're just like, no, we're done. We're done. And I was just like, but we can do it. And they were like, no.
I definitely think you did the hardest part of that.
We did. Like, I think they were just burnt out because we spent like, I think, I don't know, 2 hours in there. And and it was getting late. No joke. But I was just like, I was just like, let's go. And they were like, no, we'll go next week. And I was just like, okay.
Did you encounter any of the weird box glitches? Like, did it get stuck in the ceiling?
My gosh.
Yeah.
The worst. Half the time, that was what was screwing us up, was those stupid boxes in the sky.
Yep. They get stuck on the stalactites.
Yeah, and then some of the times it wouldn't even show period. Like, we'd be like, we're supposed to hit the box, but where is it?
Yep.
Like, yeah, that was super fun.
No sarcasm detected.
But I like that dungeon. I don't know what it is. It's a very pretty dungeon. I don't know. I just like it. So we just need to, we'll go back in there. And I don't know, that title is just really cool. So we'll go back in there. And because it is a difficult one to get done, not as many people have those achievements. So that was another reason why we're like, let's go, because it is super difficult. So I'm glad we got the hard mode done at least. We'll go back in there. But for the fact, because we still wanted to play, we just didn't want to do anything difficult, which was a mistake. But we were like, let's just do the easy non-DSC vet pledges, which, Fungal Grotto 2 and Crypt of Hearts 2. No problem, whatever. So we get into Fungal Grotto 2. Y'all, our brains were broken. Like, we all wiped on the first boss, the spider.
I love when that happens.
Like, we were like, what is happening? And so our group, we have this like ongoing joke with one another because we like to troll each other. There are times when we're just like, you know what? Oops, I forgot to taunt the boss. Like, or, oh, I forgot to heal. My bad. Like, because we just like to troll each other. And if one of us dies, we all will stop what we're doing before we res them and teabag one another. That's just what we do. Like, because it's just hilarious. Yeah. Like, even if like in a dire moment where it's like, no, seriously, no teabagging, get that person up. We need them. No, we're probably gonna wipe because somebody died and the teabags are necessary. So
principles are important.
That's our group. Yeah. That's our group. So
the sleep emote's another great one. You just sweep out their dead bodies. That's one of my personal favorites.
I love that. That one, I might steal that one.
That's a great one. Really makes people angry in PvP when they expect to be teabagged or something, and it's like, are you skinning fish on my dead body? It's like, yeah,
I need disrespectful, man.
It's like, I'm getting perfect row right now. You like that? I'm making money by doing this.
I love it. So we, of course, we were all like slap happy by the time we were in Fungal Grotto 2 because we were exhausted. And so we wiped from the first boss and we just don't even care. And by the second one, our healer is like, y'all are going to suffer because you made me suffer in Moongrave Fane. So, like where the second boss like sits on top of the rock and is just there until she finally jumps down and then she calls her shades and everything. Well, anyway, once the boss jumps down, our healer goes up to the top of the rock and he just sits there. He doesn't heal us. No, nothing. I mean, it's like whatever and everything. And so he's like, I just want to see who's gonna get murdered first by the shades, because we all know none of us are even gonna put in the effort to kill the shades. Like we're just at all. And the best part was that our healer got chosen first on top of the rock. So the shades are literally hovering over the rock and we're all doing a dance, because we're just like, oh, this is what you get for not healing us. And then So then eventually we all wiped from that boss because
instant karma.
Yeah, instant karma because, and I think we like wiped like twice on that boss because we were just mentally done. And I was just like, guys, I'm not doing the second pledge with y'all. Like, I'm done. Like, after this dungeon, like, this is going to take us 2 hours to get through this place. And so we finally did. At one point, like the boss where he zaps off all your resources, like I didn't even care, and I like legit forgot the mechanics and just ran down there and taunted him. Didn't even bother to bring him to the stairs. And so we made that boss fight far more difficult than we had. So it was a mess. By the end, I was like, guys, I'm done. Like, you're right. The no death speed run for Moongrave would never have happened. Like, it just, our brains were broken. So that's what we did last night. It was a lot of fun though. We usually have a blast. And then this next week, hopefully we'll get that done and have the Chevalier. So I'm super excited. Yeah. So that's pretty much it for me. I think so. Yeah. So, I haven't played a lot this week.
One thing that because I know, just because we're on the Moongrave Fane thing, and you just did it. I know Ark has his notorious stories with not being able to see the damn homunculi that literally won't. So I just want to specifically shout out our group healer, Parker, who a lot of people got to see for the first time on stream when we did the Dungeons Blind. You couldn't hear her because, we have some people not sharing their voices or whatever, because, whatever people are comfortable with. But some people got to see, when we finally started using a healer, some people finally got to see, like, us trying to figure stuff out, and we had her with us. I stand by the fact that she's, like, an amazing healer or whatever. And it's funny when people, I guess, don't realize how good they are at what they do, because it's just like they're used to it, and it's not braggy, like they're proud of when they do stuff, but it's just like, it's what they're trying to do. It's just their job. And when we were originally going for our Perfecta in there, she actually hadn't done the place on hard mode, period. So she was just like, okay, I don't know, whatever. Like, so we warned her about the heal check thing, because there's this, for anybody who doesn't know, when you touch the box, or if a Horrivore nibbles at you in the hard mode to Moongrave Fane, you will get this giant gray shield that goes over your shield. And basically, it's an inverse healing shield, where you have to heal through that shield in order to be allowed to get health back. It also gives you I believe it's a 90% heal reduction to yourself. So basically it makes it so someone else has to heal you out of it, is how the idea works. Important caveat, you never want your healer to get that. And if they do, someone screwed up, because like you're all done for at that point. Because the healer is the one who needs to get everybody out of it. And I think it's like 40,000 hit points or something like that. It's a pretty substantial, it's a big one. And while we were showing Parker how the actual thing was, because she didn't know, she had never done it, she whacked the box, which gives you the debuff. And she's like, what's on my health bar? And we were like, oh, that's the thing you need to heal through. We need to wipe because we're done for.
Yep.
And so casually, she goes, nah, I probably got this. And she healed herself out of the act.
You could heal yourself.
Neither did we. And
that has to be like, done, she had to put out like 400,000 heal.
Afterwards, she was like, oh my God, guys. She's like, I'm so sorry. She's like, I have no magicka left. I've got to fall back for a minute. We were like, how are you not dead? Like, we were all like, what do you mean? I was like, how could you physically hit buttons and have enough magicka to do what you just did? It doesn't make any friggin' sense. Like, you should be dead. So we were like mind blown from that. And since she wasn't really experienced with it, she was just thinking, she's like, oh, I screwed up. I can't heal you guys. And we were like, we're all fine. How are you alive? Like, what is going on? And it's the only time I've ever seen a healer get that and not fall over dead, because that's ridiculous. Like, it's so weird. But yeah, it's like, Oh, kids are saying it's been nerfed a little bit, so it's technically, so it's actually possible to physically do. And that was just it. We were just like, what is happening? That doesn't change the idea. Don't let your healer get that. That's bad. Again, if your healer gets that, somebody else did something wrong.
Right.
But yeah, it was just such a funny experience when she was new to the dungeon. She didn't realize why we were all so surprised at first that she wasn't just, because we were like, all right, wipe. It was like, So yeah, but yeah, it is a fun hard mode. The only real thing is, to your point, and the one I had was, I appreciate the variety, but they should never bring back the box mechanic. And the other one that I had a real problem with, I could see them, but to your point, Ark, and it bothered me because it got me killed on one of our runs, was, the little, like, when you go to you get chained to those pillars and you like bleed out and the little hemoglobins like show up on the ground, the little like blood globs. So we had a bunch of those because we were largely ignoring them because they don't really do anything. And while we were readjusting the boss, there were so many at my feet, which I was just basically ignoring because I was like, well, whatever, they don't do anything. Like, they'll just kill them when they come back to boss to hit the boss again. They'll just die to cleave. They got under my feet and it thought I was sliding down a mountain. So I stopped blocking because my character model did the like slide animation where you like put your arms up and you're like gliding, and the boss uppercutted the shit out of me, killing me. And I was like, damn it, we gotta actually not have quite this many of these things. But so I hold a miniature grudge against little hemoglobins. But yeah, it's
So anything else, Doc?
No, I think that's it. Yeah.
Right. So actually,
my chat's working on Twitch on my phone. Yay!
Oh, there you go.
Now you can earn drops again.
I know. Can't go without the drops, you guys.
So I'm gonna go second because we had a fun attempt at Coral Aerie.
Yeah.
Now we got the final boss to execute twice, which you would think that's that's normal after Lotus talked about all the mechanics in our spoiler episode. But the problem I realized was when I got to the final boss, I was still pretty blind, because apparently I got it all wrong from everything you explained about the fight. So it didn't go well. But I'll start from the beginning. So we got through the toilet flush boss normally. I'm gonna skip that. And then we started throwing ourselves at the whatever, the Nightblade boss.
Oh,
now,
yeah.
Last week... The gymnast, yeah. The week before that, we only had gotten that boss to execute once. So we were very excited about throwing ourselves at it again this week. And we started doing the fight, and it's just... For a while, the fight goes all right? And then eventually everything starts spawning. And then it starts spawning more stuff while everything is already spawning. And then on top of that, it does even more stuff while everything is happening. So you get ads, you get the archers from above shooting you, you get the mages in the corner. At some point, a big Khajiit dude shows up and starts smacking you as well. I don't know why he gets involved in all of that. And then I can tell where the boss is because everyone looks like the boss. So someone has to scream like, the boss is on me. And I'm like, wait, where?
Yeah, so all the shades are mimics of it. Like, it's something that it's like, I got to make sure that I'm quick with as well, because it's like, there's 6 of them around the room, and then the real one. So it's like, okay, well, there's 7 of the same model.
Even the ads are like shadow looking. Oh, yeah. Like the small ads are shadow looking as well. So everything is shadow looking except the big Khajiit dude and the mages. So I'm thinking I'm taunting the boss, and someone screams from the other end of the room, like, the boss is on me. I'm like, no. What am I fighting
right
then?
Here.
And then I look at the name, and it says like, I don't know, Archer, generic Archer guy on top of it. I'm like, oh, come on.
I hate generic Archer guy.
So we, like, after a lot of screaming, various, strategy changes, a lot of screaming, like the bash, interrupt, that type of thing. We eventually got the boss to execute. Well, we failed at like 3 or 6% once.
Oh, those are murder.
That hurt because the boss had like 300k health, and I don't know what happened, but something happened, and everyone died, and I was the only one alive. And I was like, no, and I was looking at my magma shell to like fill up, and it's just like if I had couple more seconds, I could have just like dropped magma shell and maybe saved the fight. Yeah, but it didn't happen. So we got back in there again. We eventually, long story short, after a lot of fighting, we killed it. And that felt like clearing the whole dungeon on hard mode. Like, that was the same level of excitement as clearing, like, a full Castle Thorn on hard mode or, like, a full Moongrave Fane on hard mode. That boss was... Ugh. That was a rough fight. And it just overloads your brain with so much information. It's insane.
Yeah.
But
I don't know. I like that fight to an extent. I just wish it was less long.
Yes, that's the thing. Like with the final fight as well. Like the entire Coral Aerie, even the first fight, it's like NASCAR racing.
Yeah.
Did I say that last week as well? Yeah.
Maybe. And if you didn't, you should have. Because it's an endurance thing, which I get to an extent. That's what they're going for, so that you can't really burn through. But it's like, okay, and she's up in the rafters. And then she's down for a while, and then she's up in the rafters. And it's like, we've been trying to get the time. I mean, we actually have only run Coral Aerie like once more just to show somebody else the thing. But it's all about like, okay, get ready. The second she drops, ulti dump as much as possible, and then she's still likely to get back up there. Oh God!
Every fight in Coral Aerie could use one phase less. Like the toilet flush, just once, not the second one. And then
that's just it. Why two? Why two of those phases? Like one is perfect. Like,
and then the Sardil, the gymnast boss, goes up once. Like that's it, or maybe two. But it's just like one phase less on every fight. But
sure.
Yeah, I mean, once we cleared it, we obviously got a lot of adrenaline, and we were like on to the final boss. And between going to the final boss and clearing the Sardil, I already tweeted out to Finn, like, yes, get this, I mean, so we got to the final boss, and we as I said, we talked about it. You talked about the mechanics, like how you should not dodge and things like that.
Yeah.
And I was like, okay, Lotus talked about all of this, but I feel like I still don't have, so I feel like we are still blind. But I thought I would still have a more idea about the fight. I did not.
Doing it is very different than hearing about it or watching.
We started the fight, and my like Code's Combat Reflexes says like obliterate on the top of the screen. I'm like, oh, obliterate. That's definitely a one-shot thing. So I dodge it. And then this, like, beam thing happens, and everyone just goes around. And I completely forget about what you said about face tanking this. And it took us, like, 3 wipes until I was like, oh, this is what Lotus was talking about. The thing that I should not dodge.
Yeah, it's funny you say that, because, like, I couldn't even, I couldn't articulate any of that, because since I don't know what any of that crap is called.
Yeah.
I can't even be like, oh yeah, the obliterate is this or whatever. I'm like, yeah, if it doesn't kill me and I don't read my death recap, I have no idea what anything is. Like, I don't know.
So, like, it doesn't even do damage when you block it. So I started just
it's super weak. Theoretically, if
it just makes you panic
for it, yeah. The DPS can actually soak it in an emergency. Like I had said, we had a couple situations where they basically baseball slid in. It was like, quick block, okay, heal me back up. Like, it wasn't one shot. So,
but yeah, I mean, we figured that, and then the fight started happening. You know, I'm tanking the boss. Everything is fine, and then the waves started to happen. And the first time the waves happened, I was like, oh shit, that looks beautiful, and immediately wiped. Just like,
oh yeah,
I got so distracted by how lovely that effect looks. I was like, oh, look at this.
Oh yeah.
And immediately got slammed by it. And I was like, okay, well, this lovely effect we gotta avoid. And then it's so much dodging between, like, I keep ending up on the wrong side of the freaking waves, and I just find that tiniest corner on the island to have my toe not touch the water because of the slaughterfish.
Oh my god,
I'm like,
the slaughterfish too. They're so aggressive.
dude, it's like, I find this like maybe one, if you think about the island as a circle, I find it's like 1% between the water and the like waves. And I try to squeeze myself in there, but my toe is touching the water and the slaughterfish is biting my toe. So I'm screaming at our healers like, my toes, my toes, my toes. And she's trying to heal me through it. Sometimes it works, sometimes it doesn't. So I have to get used to that as well, because whenever a fight like this happens, I'm used to tanking at the corner, like on the edge, on the outer edge, so they can have the entire island to move freely. But when I do that in this, I end up like getting squeezed into the corner with the slaughterfish. So I had to learn not to do that. And then we started getting the goddamn link.
Oh yeah, that mind tether, baby.
It took us so long to figure out what the hell the link does. So at first, and again, this is something you told me last episode, but hey, thanks, brain. So at first we were like, okay, split up. Whenever you get linked, it breaks if you just run opposite directions. We ran opposite directions and we died. So I'm like, okay, so maybe if you go over a certain distance, it kills you. So we tried not doing that. We died. So, okay, that's not about it. And I'm trying to remember what Lotus said, but I know he said something about it. And then it's like, okay, let's try like going on the opposite direction and test the like distance, try touching the water. And then it's like you get the link, and at the same time you get the waves, and the only place in the waves that you can safely run to or dodge roll to is between that very small gap between the two waves. And everybody just dodge rolls there and we just explode. So it took us several wipes for me to like remember that no one has to touch the freaking link. So we got that as well. So every like 3-4 wipes, we learned one mechanic. And then came the stupid lightning Griffin. Oh my god, I understood what the problem with the lightning Griffin was. It's so many times, it's like, I am taking so much damage. Oh shit, I'm in the lightning. And then everyone just tries to get out of it. You try to kite it, but you are linked with someone, so you have to maintain like your distance and everything, and people doesn't have to touch it, and you have to be careful about the water. The lightning keeps pushing you towards the water as well. It's just, there is so much happening, and somehow I actually had an easier time with the lightning on this boss than I had troubles with like Moongrave Fane or Lair of Marcelok. And I think that's because I am always looking from far away at the lightning while it's chasing like the healer and whatnot. So I can see the overall arena because I'm always on the edge lines that I can always call out like, okay, you are about to touch lightning, move, 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 just yell at people. But whenever, for whatever reason, I ended up having the lightning like cover my monitor, like my entire screen, then I could just not tell it apart. If I could see it from afar, then I could tell apart. But if everything I see, the entire ground was lightning, for whatever reason, if I'm like zoomed in or I'm cornered, then yeah, it was problematic.
Yeah. Now, wouldn't it also just be better if it was labeled the same AoE color as, I don't know, your AoEs?
So one thing that helped me is the lightning, as it comes up, like when it's first coming up, it does the AoE color. So once I realized that, I'm like, I just registered where the lightning spawned, and then from then on, just kept my eye on the edge of the lightning because it's just a tad bit brighter.
Yeah,
so I would just like follow that around and started like kiting clockwise or counterclockwise on the outer edge, and just like did that. And one thing we realized is it's best if we get the lightning bird at the beginning. Like if you get the lightning bird as the first bird and you get that out of the way, you can continue the fight without worrying about that. But if you get it as the last bird, you are already tired, you know, it's like your brain is a mush, and then you get the lightning, and it's like, oh god. But anyway, through a lot of trial and error, yeah, go ahead.
One thing I want to say based on that idea, first bird is I agree. Like it seemed like okay, get him out first is lightning bird. Ironically, my favorite spot that I learned after a lot of abuse in there is it's actually best if you can get it second. Because then you can stack the bird directly on the boss and you don't need to worry about over cleaving because it's such a gap between the third Griffin.
Oh.
So if you get it first, you could you can't squish them together because you'll knock 10% off the boss before you get down the
thing
Griffin.
is, we tried keeping them separate. It just didn't work because of all the movement.
So you just accept having two Griffins all the time?
Well, Kitsu and Jen just burns the bird so hard that by the time second bird completes its animation and comes to me, the first one dies.
The first one's dying. Okay, because that's what we ended up defaulting into because of the problem. But yeah, one of the things that I like doing with the first bird to stagger it a little is I would get the bird on one side and the dude on the other side. So I was kind of in the middle and they were both hitting me in both directions. And then it's like when you've got... Yeah, it wasn't cooperative. I mean, it's not. That's a lot easier.
I couldn't do it.
Done.
Yeah, like I got it done once, and I'm like, "Oh, this is beautiful. I should do that every time." And then I never could do it again. So the next thing I tried doing was I would inner rage the boss and puncture the bird. So there is a difference in resistance. So the bird
in resistance.
But then I started getting that confused. And I started inner raging the bird and puncturing the boss. so it became even worse.
Great. Perfect.
So I was like, okay, I'm not going to bother with this. And I'm just going to let Kitsu and Jen do what they do best and just melt things away.
Yeah.
But eventually we started getting the hang of every mechanic, and it just became a matter of execution. And then I started getting the benefit of my stupid ultimate regen build a lot. Because every time I was in trouble, I would just pop Magma Shell. I always had Magma Shell ready, almost all the time. And I realized I could actually go through the entire fight because of my constant ability. Yeah, no, but I could just go on about my day without Luna focus healing me most of the time. Because the damage you take is... It's not constant. It's not like a huge dot. So you can always just lose a bit of health, gain a bit of health on your own. You can self-sustain as a tank. So once we figured that as well, I told Luna, okay, you can focus, on Jen and Kitsu, and I'll do my best to keep myself alive. Of course, that becomes a problem when Luna and I are linked, and the DPS are on the other side, and we are on this side, and it's Or, when...
I definitely think tanking in there is the least stressful of the three roles.
Yeah.
Everybody else, when I was going through that, I was like, wow, you all have a lot more to pay attention to than I do. I mean, okay.
Nothing except the waves one-shots you in there.
Correct. Yeah, exactly.
So you can just pretty much, if you're in lightning AoE, you can whatever, I'm just gonna run out of the lightning AoE.
And it takes a little while to build up to doing a substantial amount of damage.
Yeah.
Whereas them, it's just okay.
Yeah. Or if you get touched by the whirlwind of the Griffin, it's okay, touched.
I just stand in that. I'm just I just don't want to move these things too much. I'll just stand in this. It's whatever. Yeah, exactly. Yep.
So
agreed.
The problem started happening when we got very tired and started wiping each other thanks to the link or stuff like that. And for example, Kitsu and I would be linked and Luna dies, or Jen dies. So Kitsu goes to heal Jen, but we are still linked, and there's just respawns immediately into the link, and we just blow up.
That's such a tragedy. When you respawn in the link, it's oh god.
Yeah. Or you respawn. I sometimes, I would, every now and then I die as well. And because the entire group is amazing kiters, they just kite around the boss and someone reses me. And they have this insane Templar / champion point res thing. It takes a second. It's they press F and I'm up and about, ready to roll. Yep. But they res me immediately. And I get up and I'm inside the lightning, like, oh shit, god damn it.
Yo.
Like,
And you got lessened resources, so it's like, I gotta get out
yeah,
of
I
this.
immediately start melting away because I can't do anything. I don't have resources.
Right.
Like, whoop, goes back down. So a lot of this started to happen, and eventually we started recovering a lot by yelling like, don't res, or I would pop magma shell and start going around like I would res someone using my magma shell, and then start getting hammered again until my magma shell fills back up. Pop it again, go res someone else.
Somebody else. Yep.
Yeah. I was just magma shelling all the time until I can just res people. And we eventually got to execute. And we're like, yes, execute. And a big goddamn bird just came by. And the boss became invulnerable. And a tornado appeared in the middle of the arena and started spewing lightning everywhere. And we were like, wait, what? And I realized I can just take the hits from the lightning. But the problem is the others can't. The lightning hurts. Like all those like spiral lightning stuff.
Yep.
And we weren't expecting an invulnerability phase in execute. We just thought, okay, a lot of things will happen and we'll execute it. No, a new bird comes by and a lot of lightning. So we died again. But since we got the hang of it, after a couple more wipes, we got to execute again. And everybody died. And I'm like, I'm alive. So I started running around the arena, getting hit by the boss and the big bird and the lightning AoEs and just filling up my ultimate so I could just pop magma shell and get somebody up so they can res the others. Because other than Kitsu, both Jen and Luna has that like insane fast res thing, so they could just res people. So I go there, we are all like screaming, the boss is down below 20%. And I'm like, I know if we can just res one person, well, not the boss, but the big bird. If we can just res one person, we can just turn this entire thing around. I go over, I don't remember if Jen or Luna, I pop magma shell, I'm not taking any damage, I'm comfortable, I press F, my character just twitches. I'm like, I press F, my character just twitches and does nothing. I press F, my character just twitches and does nothing. I'm like, no! I just spammed F trying to res, but I got that, apparently it's a known thing. Your character just does this like beginning of the res animation and just goes back to normal and just starts twitching.
I hate
and I died like that, and I'm like, not like this, Finn. And we called it a night there. So yeah, hopefully this Tuesday we'll clear it, because now at least we know it. It was like, by the way, like 4th, 5th hour or something like that, if I remember correctly. So it was a long time too. So we were all potatoes. So hopefully next week, on Tuesday, we'll clear it. And I heard shipwrights, whatever, the other one is easier. So hopefully next episode, I will be here with the Tales of Triumph, instead of... But yeah, that's it from me. That was my game time.
Well, I guess that can segue right into me, because I actually last time just had time with our little prog to do the Coral Aerie, and this time, much to what you had just mentioned, we're like, well, let's do Shipwright, because like we haven't yet. We just had that initial one where we were doing it on stream launch night, and we didn't even have a healer. It was like, we'll just figure it out, and it was painful. But we went in this time with the full group of Thrashin Slayers, and it's noticeably easier. I'm not going to tell anybody that it's easy, but it is much easier. And our group was able to handle it pretty reasonably. We got through it. It's still going to be a rough perfecta to try to do. But it seems much more reasonable than Coral Aerie, which we kind of plan out our strategy before we try doing it, and then it comes to practicing it. Coral Aerie, my strategy so far is, whereas Shipwright seems very much like, okay, if we get through this, we can probably do this. We actually can probably skip most. If I'm not sure how much what time doesn't seem. It's a pretty short dungeon if you don't do the 3 secret bosses. So we might just grab one boss or whatever. I mean, we tend to just grab which ones we think are most useful and just skip the others. But then if we really want, it's like, okay, we'll go through and do without, but it's never, unless there's an achievement, which both of them do have an achievement for doing all the hard modes without any buffs. It's a separate title actually this time if you do that.
Oh, okay.
I noticed that. Yeah.
Yeah, which is interesting because it's kind of like the old-fashioned thing that they did in Stone Garden, which is don't use any buffs for beating that hard mode or all those hard modes. It's got those again, and it's like we always just kind of try to min-max what we think is most efficient for getting secrets or not when we do them. Where Shipwright seems like you got plenty of time. Not having the buffs, time seems like it's going to be brutal in Coral Aerie anyways, going for 0 secret bosses. So I'm not too sure yet. But what do you call it? Either way, we went into Shipwright, and I don't know. People can let me know what they think about this, but I actually think the hardest hard mode in there is actually the first boss.
Yeah, I believe that.
It was
The
something
others
like the ghost, right?
Yeah, it's the ghost one. I actually think that's the most complicated of the hard modes.
That's good to know.
All I know is the light. Once the ghosts spawn, his light attack just slaps.
Oh yeah,
That's
it's most unpleasant. But yeah, I personally, we thought that was the most challenging of the 3 of them. And there was one thing that we were trying to figure out when we were doing it on launch night. But our sorcerer in the group, Bill, I don't know whether he heard it or noticed it or whatever, but one thing that we found out that is super, super useful is you can control who gets the grouping mechanics when he throws up that thing where it's like one person is hexed and they can't have everybody group on them. You have to have one person group up, so you have to pair. You can control who gets that effect.
Really?
It's the person that's at the farthest away from the boss will be targeted with it.
Oh,
So we specifically had the healer stand behind everyone. It gave it to her, and then we had designated the sorcerer to group with her. The problem is, in Execute, it throws it to 2 people. So it's a little harder to pick. So what we did was we had designated pairs and backup pairs.
Nice.
If so-and-so has this, they group with this person by default. If both of those people were to have it, flip who you're going with. So it took us a little bit to figure it out. Once we figured that out, we managed to beat it, but it was super chaotic, just trying to get that organized. Then we went through the other ones, and there's actually not that much to say, because the second boss fight, it's really not that. Actually, I don't know if it's at all different. It just has more health, does more damage. I don't actually know anything that's different between hard mode and not hard mode in the second fight. It's the same fight, except this Spriggan has a lot more health. The explodey dogs have more health, and there's more shit in the room. Oh, there might be a lurcher. I don't know if there's a lurcher on.
I honestly can't remember.
Yeah,
I'm like struggling to remember that fight. I feel like
it's just a really, really tall
Spriggan thing,
and then she spawns the dogs that explode, and
that's right. Yeah.
But yeah, like that wasn't really much of any. So we did that, and the only thing that was kind of chaotic is the final hard mode with the amount of crap on the deck, literal crap, like all over the deck because everybody's vomiting everywhere with the shipwright people. So at first we were like, oh, we got to clear this garbage out of here. Like this is problematic, and it is problematic to an extent. Because if you're walking through it blocking, every step you take counts as a block because you're in damage, which obliterates your resources.
Yeah.
And we realized, which is weird because it's very much unlike Coral Aerie, where it's like, oh, you plan this out. Our solution to that was, well, screw these mechanics. They're dumb. Let's just kill the thing. That's the answer to that dungeon. That is absolutely the answer to that final hard mode. We were just like, ignore the puke. Don't do any of this. Ignore the minis. Like, who cares? and we just beat the crap out of the boss and we won. Like that was we killed off the Hulk just because they're way more damaging than the boss. But the boss wasn't really our concern. It's just there's so much junk on the ground, it slowed you down a lot, which was problematic. However, we did learn that when the tidal waves come up over the shore and onto the deck, it washes away the crap that it goes over. So we just tried to get all the garbage in a pile, and then when the waves instinctively try to hit us, it washed all the crap off the deck so we could walk around anyways. Nice. So, like, I don't know. It wasn't nearly the project of the previous one. Don't get me wrong. It's still a super good challenge. Like, I actually like Shipwright quite a bit. It just seems a little less aggressive, and it didn't have any of those weird mechanics where I was like, I just wish I could see this better, or this feels elongated. For that fight, even though he ports himself out to the water a couple times, it doesn't feel artificial. And the second fight, the only time she's invincible is if you're letting her stand in her own aura of, like, goop. If you walk her around, she's not invincible. It's up to you whether she's invincible or not. So it's like, that place felt less intentionally delayed than Coral Aerie did. Although I think Coral Aerie is a little more creative with how like, that place has got some unique stuff in it. But yeah, both of them I like quite a bit. But yeah, we definitely didn't have as much of an issue with Shipwright. And we've done some random achievements in there. There's one for making sure that you kill the boss on Veteran without having more than 10 piles of garbage on the deck, which was actually kind of awkward because they're puking everywhere all the time. Timing that was interesting. And we had, what was it? Don't get hit by any of the rain and stuff in the second fight. That's just be a spaz and run around a lot. That was, I did it on Guaranir in one try. So it was like, yeah, he doesn't escape. You're always going to get Guaranir. I did it in one try because I was just like, I'll just stop doing damage and then come back in. Like it was really just, if you want to do it, that it's just avoid all the stuff. It's not RNG based. It's not any of that stuff. And you can dodge roll out of it even if you're in bad positioning, which I like because it's like, okay, well, that benefits awareness, not luck. So it's like, I thought that was pretty cool. I've been doing a ton of the event because I've been trying to level up on PC. I'm pretty close to 600 CP, I think, on PC.
Nice.
And yeah, so I've been jumping in and out of that on PC. And then the only other thing that I really wanted to mention specifically since the last show, which it was brought up the fact that I said that I just have the hobo horse on PC, the free level up horse. And I believe it was Cobra who mentioned somebody get this man a guar. And shout out to SD for gifting me a guar literally right after the stream ended. So now I heroically ride around on a guar on PC.
What have you done, SD?
Yes.
So thank you for that. That was awesome of you. I greatly appreciate that. And I will ride around on my...
Cult of Guar appreciates your donation.
Correct. And I was going to say, I now have a noble guar to ride around on PC.
Did you name it? You needed to name it.
I think his name came as Freckles, and I didn't think I wanted to rename it because he's covered in spots.
He is, yes.
Yeah, so I think his name was Freckles or something like that. I was like, all right, Freckles, it's into battle, I guess.
Adorable.
He's like, okay, this is, I guess, what we're doing.
Love it.
So, yeah, so that was very nice of you. Thank you very much. Appreciate that. But yeah, that's pretty much it from me. Otherwise, I've just been kind of doing the event stuff. I guess I would just like to throw out, just because it's been something I was briefly part of, and I don't really want it to sound like bad or anything like that. But I was in just like a help, like I was a fill-in to another prog. It was a Griffin Heart prog or whatever. And fingers crossed for you all. I hope you get it soon or whatever. One thing, and I don't feel anybody was disrespectful in that group, but like one thing that I will always say to people when you get to like end game stuff, if that's something you have interest in, you can like people and you can get along with people and stuff like that. Sometimes you just don't have good synergy in groups. and that's okay. Try not, I mean, it can be, especially when you're close to something. Try not to let it get too frustrating or think it's you're screwing something up. Sometimes people just don't work that great together.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
And like, yeah, it was just like, there was a lot of experience in there. My big thing, which it was very late at night, and I was totally down to help if I could, but oh my God, one, I don't really like Cloud Rest that much. I don't like either of the mini trials all that much. But going back in there after I got my Griffin Heart and got the Stray Side achievements to get my Welkinar Liberator, I literally have not gone back into Cloud Rest since then. And that was in like September or something like that. So I've had nothing to do with that place. And I was like, oh man, I'm going to be so rusty. And I was for like 1 or 2 pulls, and then I kind of remembered everything. And the one thing that was interesting is while we were practicing, it's weird how something that beat the crap out of you for so long when you learn it becomes so second nature once you prove to yourself you can do it. Because after like 2 pulls, I remembered everything to do. And they had a couple different strategies. So I'm like, oh, okay, well, I'll do this instead. Because again, I'm not leading the trial. You tell me what you want and I contribute if I can do so. But it was just weird because there were so many things that I did not even remember remembering until I was doing them. And I was like, why did I know that I was going to be doing this? Like, it was weird that it was just like instinctively, I set up my bars the same because it's really weird for that setup in there because when you're mini tanking, it's kind of a bizarre setup, or at least I do. Because you want like chains on your front bar because you don't have time to be grabbing this other crap, and and you don't really take that much abuse as mini tank, so it's like your self heals are kind of minimal. You just need a lot of practicality stuff for the group, and it was just funny because like at one point I was like looking at the one of the minis and trying to remember like, okay, so this is happening and they're determining who goes to the portal, and in the background I'm just like instinctively like going around and chaining around the boss. It was like, I didn't even realize they were in Portal, let alone there were ads coming up. I was like, this is terrifying that this has been ingrained in my skull. I was like, this is weird. So I wonder what useful knowledge I pushed out to get that knowledge stuck in there. But yeah, because that's really knowledge I don't care to keep. But yeah, in general, the only real point of me saying that, it's like, because it was a nice group of people and I met some pretty chill people that I, hopefully I'll be able to run with again. But yeah, it's like one of those things where it's like sometimes no matter how good a group can be, don't beat yourself up if it doesn't work, because it doesn't always work, and for a variety of reasons. And sometimes that can get kind of awkward, and it's pretty daunting when you go from team to team to team to find that one that clicks. And it's hard enough to do with a 4-person group. Doing with a 12-person trial team, it's so involved. But yeah, so either way, best of luck to them. I hope they manage to kind of organize a little bit and figure out what works and doesn't, and find a team that can hold together for the couple people that were looking for their Griffin Heart in that group or whatever. But yeah, that's pretty much it for me in this past week. Otherwise, it's just been XP grinding.
All right. Well, in that case, that brings us to the end of Tales, and I believe end of the show, because we don't have any emails for this week. But if you do want to send your own message or email to the show, you can do so over at talesoftamrielpodcast@gmail.com. This will be the segment for it. And if there's nothing else, we may as well wrap the show, since it's past midnight. For me,
sounds good.
In the future land.
I need to fix my computer, apparently. So
yeah, I wonder if just a reset will fix it or not. I mean,
I hope so, because I'm like, what is that? Because it's like not it's so weird because I'm on the Discord call with y'all.
I was waiting for you to cut out.
I was too, because nothing else internet-wise is recognizing. Like Discord, if y'all are sending me messages on Discord, I apologize. I cannot pull up the messages. Like Discord is not working apart from this call. Like everything is like, I don't know. There's
just a bit of bandwidth left. Yeah. there's just a bit of bandwidth left in the internet
all
of for
its time
Doug
and energy,
onto the, like
this
Spider-Man
ball.
holding the boat or like the train. It's it's just trying to hold it together for this Discord call.
And once the call is over, the computer's just like,
and we're done. Just like, and we're done. Blue screen.
That's it. I'm dead. But in that case, you can follow everything we do over at talesoftamrielpodcast.com, as we mentioned. There you can find links to all of our social media and the content for Tales, including Twitch, YouTube, Twitter, Discord, and our Twitter accounts. Be sure to check out our Patreon at patreon.com/UESP if you want to help support the show and earn awesome Elder Scrolls themed rewards in the process. You can also consider leaving us a 5-star review on iTunes so people know that we are a real podcast, that we say real words, and sometimes it matters. Thank you all so much for joining us on this episode of Tales of Tamriel, and we will see you all next time on twitch.tv/Tales of Tamriel for the next live show. Have a great night, everybody.
When Akatosh slew Lorcan, he ripped his heart right out. He hurled it across Tamriel, and the heart was heard to shout, red diamond, the heart and soul of men. Red diamond, protect us till the end. The laughing heart sprayed blood afar, a gout on Seer it fell, and like a dart shot to its mark down in an alien well. Magic effused the Lorcan blood to crystal red and strong. Then wild elves cut and polished it down to chimel at a ball. Red diamond, the heart and soul of men. Red diamond, protect us till the end. When elves lost Nirn to men, Akatosh gave the stone to Saint Alesh in token of her right to sit the throne. Red diamond, the heart and soul of men. Red diamond, protect us till the end. Red diamond, protect us till the end.